Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to this week in Renewables Season 2, Episode 16. This is your bite-sized roundup of the renewable stories over the last 7 days. Wind, hydropower, solar, you know the score, we discuss. As per usual, I am your host, Mr. Deshi Okunsola, aka the voice you can trust. Please don't forget to do all the good stuff, like, comment and sharing. It really does help with the visibility of this podcast. Available on all streaming platforms, we do not discriminate here. YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn and the rest of them. Anyway, let's get straight into some news here across the renewable sector. This week, I'm going to start off with a bit of kind of general news. One being obviously the ongoing situation in Ukraine and with regards to the Russian invasion. And as we discussed several weeks ago, it's having an impact on the renewable sector. And it very much looks like we are in a political game of chess at the moment, as we, the people, are the pawns in this chess game. The EU, I think over the weekend there has been some latest developments with regards to the kind of supply of Russian oil and gas. And as I understand, that Russia has halted gas supplies to Bulgaria and Poland last week as they refused to meet its demands for effectively paying in rubles. The EU at this particular moment remains unable to agree on the ending of supplies of Russian oil and gas, as commented by the German economy minister. This weekend, ministers had been discussing an embargo on Russian oil, but Hungary, among others, had made it very clear it would block the consensus. As I did state before, Bulgaria and Poland have had their gas supply halted. However, it must be mentioned that these two particular countries were already planning to stop using Russian gas later this year. So one could argue that this move by Russia is simply a kind of political PR exercise, being that both countries have said they have more than enough supply to kind of get them through to the end of the year. However, what this does raise is fears that other EU countries, including Europe's gas-reliant economic powerhouse Germany, could be next. So it'll be very interesting to see what will happen next between the West and the EU and Russia, as Putin seems to be playing the long game in this political game of chess. And that kind of moves nicely on to one of the next story I want to discuss is Germany deploying 731 megawatts of solar and 106 megawatts of onshore wind in March. As we discussed before, Germany is one of the biggest users of Russian oil and gas. So they have made a very kind of loud statement to say that they need to make their shift to renewables as quickly as possible. So interesting reading to see kind of the solar and wind energy that were deployed last month. Looking at an article here, new solar capacity in March significantly exceeded the levels from previous months, surging by 71% from February. Unlike solar, newly deployed wind power continued slowing down, falling from 118 megawatts in previous months. So solar definitely seems to be the kind of theme at the moment in Germany. Since the start of the year, Germany has added almost 1.58 gigawatts of solar and 460 megawatts of onshore wind capacity, while new biomass plants totaled 9.73 megawatts. So interesting numbers there coming by way of Germany and their push for renewables. More news from the solar sector specifically by way of India. And Hydropower have commissioned their 90 megawatt PV plant in India, fully commissioned plant in the state of Assam, India. So congratulations to all those involved in that particular project. The project is spread across 4 districts in the state of Udaguri and Nagon and Kasher. I do hope I've pronounced those states correctly. It was commissioned in phases, with the final 25 megawatts coming online in Qatar. The power generated by the plant is to be used to supply the Assam Power Distribution Company under a long-term 25-year power purchase agreement. So that's really good news to hear. Azure Power now has an operational and renewable energy capacity of over 2.9 gigawatts in India. It was commented by the Chief Financial Officer Pawan Kumar that the project will go a long way in meeting India's clean energy objectives. So good news coming by way of India. More news on the solar side here. And Australian renewable energy company Moneg has unveiled detailed plans of a proposed energy hub consisting of 550 megawatt solar farm and a 400 megawatt battery energy storage system in the state of New South Wales. Once approved, construction of the solar farm and battery is expected to take 18 months, creating up to 50 full-time equivalent jobs during the peak of activity, so good for the local jobs market, and requiring up to 20 permanent operational staff for the 35-year life of the project. The development application providing details of the proposed energy hub south of Murawa in the Upper Hunter Shire Council area, about 180 kilometres northwest of Newcastle, Australia, will be lodged with the NSW Department of Planning, Industry and Environmental at the first step in the state significance development assessment process. At this stage, completion of the project is expected in 2025, as commented. So interesting news coming by way of Australia. And this new solar energy battery storage project in the planning phases. Some additional news coming from the solar market. Last but not least, Ireland's Minister for Environmental, Climate and Communications, Eamon Ryan, has formally opened the first grid-scale solar project to connect the national grid under the Renewable Electricity Support Scheme, RESS. The 8 megawatt Millvale solar farm, developed by Neon, is now delivering electricity into the national grid. It is located close to the Ashford in County Wicklow. The project occupies 25 acres and comprises of 33,000 solar modules. Neon has also secured support under the RESS 1 for 2 other solar farms, Hilltown and Holland. So good news coming by way of Ireland. Moving on to some wind energy news on the onshore side, and having a look at what we've got here to share. Statkraft, they have secured Finnish PPA. Science company Solvay have signed a 10-year PPA with Statkraft to purchase electricity produced by the Puja Parakangas wind farm. The wind farm, which is currently under construction, will consist of 14 turbines, which are scheduled to be connected to the grid in autumn 2023 next year. They will have combined capacity of 86.8 megawatts and will be capable of producing enough electricity to supply 14,000 electricity heated Finnish homes. Really good news here. The agreement will enable the Solvay site in Finland to operate on 100% wind generated electricity, helping to decarbonise the production of hydrogen peroxide at the site and continuing to achieve the firm's sustainable target. So really good news there coming by way of Finland and Statkraft, who've secured the Finnish PPA. More news on the wind side, and this time come by way of Sweden, so not far from Finland. The fund manager secures debt for 253 megawatt Swedish wind farm. Energy Infrastructure Partners EIP, they have secured a debt financing structure on behalf of investors for the 253 megawatt MB2 North Wind Farm, which is part of the second phase of the Markeben 1101 cluster in northern Sweden. I think I've discussed it before a few times in this week on Renewables. So again, that's some good news coming by way of the Scandinavia market at the moment. Last but not least, wanted to share some new news of a new company which has been set up. It's not every day you get to see new companies in formation. And a new consultancy has been opened up for business, focusing on the offshore wind and early stage development of renewable energy projects in Asia Pacific. Kimmer Energy has been set up by Kimberly Cram and Maya Malik, who have over 35 years of collective experience in large-scale offshore wind and energy infrastructure projects. So this is really good news of a new, consultancy being set up. Cram, previously managing director for Macquarie Capital and project director for one of the first commercial-scale offshore wind farms in Taiwan. Before Maguire, she held senior positions at Scottish Power Renewables in Vidrola, and prior to that, she was lawyer with Pinsett Masons, advising on infrastructure and renewable energy projects, so a very vast experience in this field. Kimmer Energy have stated its advantage is its full project life-scale experience, local knowledge and network. So congratulations to both Kimberly Cram and Maya Malik on the creation of Kimmer Energy. That sums up this week in Renewables. As always, keep it green, keep it clean. Don't forget to comment, share and subscribe. Any suggestions I'm always welcome to. Otherwise, have a fantastic week ahead. Bye-bye. Take care.